Hello, it's Wednesday. It's 8:30. It's the 17th day of November 2022. It's about 70 degrees and sunny here at Site B. The Christmas lights are going up. So we'll do some Christmas lights walk and talks. Because sleeping dogs can't lie and because Wizards of the Coast seems determined to just make every single solitary ridiculous choice possible going into 1D&D in 2023. Doesn't this sort of remind you of something? Wasn't there a time period when they made a whole bunch of utterly ridiculous, nonsensical choices going into the release of a new game, and that ended up pretty much self-destructing them to the point where you're like, dude, did you do this on purpose? Because wow. Is this 4th edition all over again? Are they literally shooting themselves in the foot on purpose? I mean, one of these you're going to be like, okay, yeah, I get it. 2, you're like, all right, yeah, I get it. 3, you're like, wait a minute. That's 4, you're like, But we're up to like, what, 10 now? Where you're just like, dude, what? I mean, at some point we go past being, I'm angry at you, Wizards of the Coast, for changing my game to, are you okay, Wizards of the Coast? Do you need help? Should I call someone? Maybe you need a break. You know, it is National Take a Hike Day. Maybe Wizards of the Coast, we should just go outside and get a breath for fresh air. Because, what? Really, dude, at this point, it's more not, it's like, what the fuck? Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about and all that silliness there, of course I'm talking about the announcement yesterday, followed up by the announcement today. Yesterday, they announced that, hey, D&D Dragon Plus is gone. Actually, they announced this on the 15th. We didn't find out about this till the 15th/16th. So, yeah, we've only really known about this for about 24 hours. So, Dragon Plus was an online library/support for the long-running, much-beloved Dragon magazine. It went completely digital, more or less, around 2014, which led to the whole Paizo breakup nonsense that was the beginning of the end for 4th. That's a whole separate topic. But, Wizards of the Coast has been supporting the online Dragon magazine and the online Dragon magazine library until recently. A few months ago, they announced they were ending the subscriptions. There weren't going to be any more Dragon Plus going on the online site, but they were still going to support it because it cost them nothing. The stuff had all been pretty much digitized already. The market was already there, so they were still supporting the library for Dragon Plus, but then they decided, nope, it's gone. Not only are we not supporting it anymore, but it's gone. You can't access it anymore. Where that information is now, I mean, once it's out there, you can't really remove it. All those digital Dragon magazine conversions are still out there and can be found, but Wizards of the Coast is not supporting it anymore. Well, does that mean they'll be doing something in the future for 1D&D similar to Dragon magazine? Probably. Or are they just, does it mean that they're just combining Dragon magazine Plus and all the stuff that they did with Dragon magazine Plus for the past couple years with Unearthed Arcana and just making it one new thing? Here's the section where we're going to throw out stuff that we're playtesting for 1D&D, and then a few months later, we'll see whether it's official or not. So on the surface, this probably means nothing to a lot of people. They're like, oh, so what? What the fuck? They're not supporting Dragon magazine anymore. It was all stuff for 2, 3, and 4. It's just another, the edition wars are ending. It's 5e or nothing. Except no, because Dragon Plus has been going since 2014. Wizards of the Coast has been continuing to post 5e stuff on Dragon Plus and allowing third-party outsiders to post 5e and 5e adjacent information and support on Dragon Plus. So by discontinuing Dragon Plus, they are discontinuing all the 5e support that Dragon Plus provided and all the third-party 5e support and information that Dragon Plus provided. So basically, they just removed a huge chunk of the 5e support. Because now, Wizards of the Coast is not doing any Dragon Magazine 5e support. We're not really sure what's going on with the products they have coming up in 2023. But yeah, this is, of course, also following in the rumor that Wizards of the Coast is going to discontinue the OGL, which, of course, you can't discontinue the OGL, but there's a lot of 5e support out there that are still using the SRD or the OGL that are now all frightened and going, oh, wait, does this mean I have to convert to 1D&D or whatever it's going to be next, D&D 6th edition? And it's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Further, when this whole 1D&D thing started, Wizards of the Coast was like, don't worry, it's going to be backwards compatible with 5. This led to some people being misinterpreting the information and thinking, oh, well, it's going to be backwards compatible with everything. Therefore, the edition wars are over because all the D&D editions will now be compatible with 5e, which is compatible with 1D&D going forward. Except, no, what they said was 1D&D is going to be backwards compatible with 5e. We're not supporting 4e, 3e, 2e, 1e, 0e. No, that's done. Remember, 2014 forward is what's canon. Nothing before 2014 counts. We're not going to support it, except, of course, our secretly are going to support it, because why would they turn down the money? But yeah, no more. So it's only backwards compatible with 5e. But by removing Dragon Plus, they're kind of now saying, yeah, no, it's not backwards compatible with 5e. This follows up with we're not supporting the OGL, which they can't, which means no, once again, since the 5e support uses the OGL, the third-party 5e stuff, no, we're not backwards compatible with third-party 5e stuff. And then going further with the announcement about how everything that's going to be offensive is going to be looked at by this group of sensitivity cultural consultants and then changed online. So now the new errata, which you're going to have to pay for any 5e product, is going to be changed to reflect the new outlook and the new going forward, whatever 1D&D is going to end up being, which means, again, whatever 1D&D is going to end up being in 2024, that's another chunk of information that's not going to be backwards compatible. So despite the belief otherwise, yeah, sorry, no, whatever 1D&D is going to be in 2024, 90% of the information seems to be saying it is not going to be backwards compatible. And by removing Dragon Plus, that's a huge chunk of 5e compatibility that's gone. So yeah, I think it's safe to say what they're basically saying is 1D&D 2024 is not going to be backwards compatible. But they couldn't leave well enough alone, could they? No, because this morning they announced, hey, Tiamat, the chromatic dragon queen of Dungeons & Dragons mythology, and Takisha, the chromatic dragon queen of Dragonlance mythology, are the same. Takisha and Tiamat are the same. It's been an issue of dispute for decades over various editions of D&D, but Wizards of the Coast has confirmed that, yes, Takisha is indeed Tiamat. Dispute for decades. Really? Was there anybody who did not think they were the same? Oh no, Takisha and Tiamat are not the same. I mean, sure, they look the same, they act the same, they represent the same things, they both have the same goals. Did I mention they look the same and act the same and look the same and are the same? But no, they're not the same. No, yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're exactly the same. Was there anybody who didn't think of the same? Every Dragonlance person I ever met and played with were like, yeah, they're the same. But apparently Wizards of the Coast thinks you're an idiot. And so they need to be sure. And to follow up on this, Margret Weiss, of all people, went, oh no, they're not the same. Takisha is not Tiamat, damn it. So apparently the creator of Dragonlance has finally come forward and said, no, they were not the same. Really, Margaret? Normally I agree with you on anything revolving how Wizards of the Coast has replaced you and not consulted you, but come on, they were the same. Was there anybody? I mean, okay, now Margaret Weiss is saying, no, they're not the same, but yeah, they fucking are the same. They're both based on the same myth. They're both based on the same entity. They're both based on the same chromatic dragon queen. But okay, Margaret, if you say they're not, because it's your baby. But yeah, I think most people believed that they were. At least I always did. I never saw a difference, but maybe I'm stupid. Every Dragonlance player I ever met said they were the same. But again, maybe they're stupid. If Margaret Weiss is now saying they're not the same, okay, fine, they're not the same. Wizards of the Coast is saying they are the same. They've always been the same. You were too stupid to realize they were the same. But so, yeah, we're going to confirm, for now anyways, that they're the same. Of course, anything we confirmed for 5e, we just threw away in the trash. So, next year, they probably won't be the same again. Margaret, Tracy, do whatever you're going to do with Dragonlance, because your Dragonlance is the real Dragonlance. Whatever it is Wizards of the Coast is making is not the real Dragonlance. So, Margaret, if you say it's not Tiamat, even if everybody else says it is Tiamat, it's not Tiamat, okay? I'm not going to fight you on this one. I think they're the same. I've always thought they were the same. I've always run them the same. Everybody I've ever met who's plays Dragonlance and read Dragonlance was always like, yeah, they're the same. But if they're not the same, fine. I really don't care. All this matters going forward is that Wizards of the Coast seems to be repeating the choices that they made at the beginning of 4th edition, and we all know how that ended up. If you don't know how that ended up, several people smarter than I am have covered the series of events leading up to 4th edition and the utter disaster that was 4th edition, which is sad because on its own, 4E was a pretty good system. And I've talked about it several times, but yeah, okay, so, really. It's too much shotgunning, WOTC. Just one after another, after another, after another. You even had a kerfuffle in the case against TSR 3.5 Wonderwork Toys Justin Lanasa recently, where you were all like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And for like the last week or two, people were like, oh, Wizards of the Coast is the good guy in this fight between this court case with Justin Lanasa. Except, nope, you just shot yourself in the foot with that one too, didn't you? Whole separate topic covered on Tinker's Tavern. Yeah, so if you just said, rumor, we're canceling the OGL, even though you can't, and then didn't say anything for a week, that would have been okay. But then you follow that up with 3 other things, all within the same 5-day period, to the point where you're like, dude, it's too much. Stop. 1 a week is bad enough. 3, 4 a week? That's just, it's 4E all over again. It is. I mean, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but literally, it is to the point of self-destructive, to the point of everything you're saying, Wizards of the Coast, even if somewhere in the sacred timeline it makes sense, it doesn't make sense anymore. You need to stop. Okay, so my final plea to the creators of Wizards of the Coast: there are people out there in the world who have received professional accredited training from actual schools whose job it is to take your information and present it in a way that is as non-offensive and as informative as possible to the largest audience in the easiest way to present it. They are called press secretaries or image consultants, or people who know how to take your shit and say it in a way that doesn't make you look dumb. So, Wizards of the Coast, I implore you, if you're listening to me, which I know you're not, to hire one of these individuals or a couple of them and say, look, we're fucking up. So please take this information and turn it in a way so we can present it to the public where we don't look like self-destructive idiots. I can't make this shit up. No, I can't. It's why? It's not like it's not out there. Dragon Plus gone. Tiamat and Takesha the same, not the same. Let's piss off Margret Weiss even more. I got nothing. I'm the OG GM. If you appreciate this nonsense, let me know. If you don't and want to change it, let me know. Am I wrong about Dragon Plus? Am I wrong about Tiamat Takesha? Please comment down below and let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that notification button so you always know what's going on in the world of the OG GM. Consider supporting me through the various ways you can support me. And above all, go outside.